with Going Solo, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And today I have with me Jeffrey Bloom. Jeffrey Bloom is the CEO of Creative Resolutions Group. He is also the CEO of Mediation Society of Long Island, Inc. And he has a terrific radio show, which is WLINY Radio, and it's Ask the Mediator. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is great having you. You know, you and I have had many conversations about trying to change, you know, the face of divorce a little bit. Tell us, as we start into this segment, how you got into doing what you're doing.
Well, I was at 49. I went to law school, and I did my program through Concord, which is Kaplan University, so it was an online program. And it's something I always wanted to do, you know, to get to be a lawyer initially. And when I got to this program, it turned out that I was only eligible to take the bar in California, and I wouldn't be able to practice in New York, but I went ahead anyway because it was a little bit more affordable than going to a brick and mortar school. And at that point in my life, I just wanted to take on that larger debt as far as a brick and mortar. You know, I wish my time machine was working and I can go back in time and do over again, but I couldn't do that. But at the time, I was working for as a litigation paralegal in a plaintiff personal injury law firm. And as I was going to school, he did both personal injury and real estate. And what happened was business slowed down at certain times, very drastically, because when you only have two services you're providing, you know, it's easy to have two things dry up at once.
Right.
So he's looking at ways to expand the practice. And in October 2010, New York was the last state to approve no-fault divorce. And what that basically means is nobody has to take fault anymore. One party claims there's an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage for 6 months or longer. The other side agrees. They've been married at least 6 months, and they can agree on all the issues, file paperwork, and they're done. So he said, okay, look into it. Let's see what we have to do. So I was telling him, you don't have to appear in court. You produce the papers, you file it. So as I was doing the research, I found mediation. And I said, look, we could grab both ends of the spectrum here. So I paid for it, and I went to my own mediation training. We launched a no-fault divorce. I mediated some cases while I was at the firm. And this started in 2011. And around the end of 2013, I want to say, he didn't think he wanted to continue with the family law portion anymore. He was getting very busy with real estate. He'd taken over his dad's practice, had some attorneys on board. He said to me, look, I know you completed law school. You're almost finished with your master's degree in negotiation dispute resolution. You probably don't want to go back to being just a paralegal. Maybe we should come up with an exit strategy. So I made the jump and went out on my own in January of 2014, full-time. And so November of this year will be 3 years full-time and 5 years total that I've been mediating.
Well, congratulations. You know, I really do like mediation. And the reason for that is because I've seen so many couples spend a lot of time arguing, spending a lot of money, and they really have kind of gotten to the same place, divorced. And so, you know, you're going to get there. So why not try to work it out? So I love the idea of trying to change the face of divorce a little bit more. So tell us, if someone was looking at divorcing, if they were looking at doing this, what would be the pros of doing mediation for them, other than what you just said?
Well, the pros are they're going to save a lot of money. And so, for example, in New York, the average retainer fee for an attorney, family law, is anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. Could be more. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a little bit less. But no matter what it is, it's the retainer fee, and that's going to be gone no matter what happens.
Right.
So let's say it's $10,000 each. Now it's $20,000. If you're going through all the way to trial and with depositions and discovery, and you know, you're looking at, without exaggerating, $25,000 each for a litigation process. That's $50,000, $40,000. Mediation, soup to nuts, generally costs less than $6,000 total. Not each. Most of mine cost less than $5,000.
Wow.
If there's a need for experts like a forensic accountant, somebody to evaluate a business, to do some financial planner, then maybe you're looking at $6,000 to $8,000. I think I've had one that when 10,000, that was they would retain those other services to get what it is they need. But again, $10,000, $80,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Which one do you want?
The process is going to take you at least two years or more if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So, when you're going through assets and splitting things up, why not have more to split up? Okay. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to child support and finances and moving on with your life, and let's just take one at a time. Child support and residential custody. Who knows what's best for the kids other than mom and dad? The attorneys don't know. The judge doesn't know. They're going to base everything just on the law. There's going to be one winner, one loser. Mediation is a win-win. Everything that goes into the final agreement, everything that goes in the no fault divorce paperwork is what the two parties want to go in there. And that being said, they're much more likely to abide by that and continue abiding by the terms if it's something they both agree to, rather than somebody telling them what's something to do. So the flip side of that, so you go through the litigation system, and a judge says, okay, you're a non-residential parent, and you've got to pay this much of child support, and then you have to do this, you have to do this, whatever the case may be. 1 year later, 2 years later, somebody doesn't abide by those terms. And I can get into some of the most common. Then what do you do? Then the other side's got to get an attorney again. They got to pay more fees. The other side's going to have to get an attorney if they can get it. They're going to have to go back to court. The whole process starts all over again.
Right. So
the example I like to use, everything is flexible mediation. As long as the couple agrees, that's fine. Whether I think it's fair or not, it doesn't matter. It's what they know. So let's just say we're doing child support, just to use one example. And based on the Child Support Standards Act, dad's not the residential parent in this case. Mom's got the residential parent, and dad's supposed to pay $1,500 a month of child support based on the incomes. Dad could say, "Look, I can't do $1,500 because I have to live on my own now and have my own expenses. And I got to get an apartment, but I'm paying for Johnny's, softball and Mary's ballet, and I'm providing health insurance. So in order for me to live, I could pay $1,100 a month. I'm just making up numbers."
Right.
Mom could say, $1,100 a month, I could do that. Bam, it's in writing. They got it. What happens with the assets? You keep your pension plan, I keep mine, or I keep mine, and you can have the house. Again, everything is flexible rather than somebody telling you what to do. And it's really, really a big difference. And my goal is always to have a win-win in regards to mediation at the end. Something, and I always tell them many times during the session, when we're done, I want you both to be able to sign something that you're comfortable with, that you understand, and nobody walks away signing something that's just not going to work for me, because then it defeats the purpose.
Right. So emotionally, it really puts them in a good place because they feel like they've gotten a little bit of control in the process. They've made decisions that are based on their own needs and wants and desires. And so this way they're walking out of it with a little bit more of a, okay, we can move on with our lives. We can move forward with this and we can come together. The thing is when you start in, an adversarial situation, you're basically fighting, and you're spending a lot of money, and at the end of the day you're at pretty much the same place but not as wealthy and not as comfortable. But the thing is you are there facing your ex in kind of an angry mode, because it's not what you wanted. And so I think personally, by going through mediation, being able to control the process a little bit, understand it, and agree upon where you're going to go forward after that, it really puts you in, I think, in a more comfortable situation than versus coming out of the courthouse crying, emotional, and thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to live through this now? So
not only the fighting, but the communication. I mean, think about it. We all remember the telephone game, right? We went to middle school, and a teacher would whisper something in the ear of the person in front of the room. By the time it got to the other end, it was totally different. So here's a litigation process, and Mary and John are getting divorced, and now Mary and John can't communicate anymore because you both have attorneys. So Mary tells her attorney what she wants. Her attorney tells John's attorney. John's attorney tells John, and it goes back and forth like that, right? Mm-hmm. Can't miscommunication happen that way? Now you're in front of a judge. The judge doesn't want to hear from the parties, only from the attorneys. So what's important for you what's a hot button issue for you will be told in court that's not relevant, it doesn't matter, but it's relevant to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a room together with a neutral third person like myself or mediator, or whoever you're using, and you can exchange ideas. And even though one side might not admit that they understand why the other one is upset or whatever it is, they hear it. It's in the back of their mind. They're right there. Isn't that better to communicate when a person's right there versus going through 3, 4 different people? Let alone, like we talked about earlier, the money, right? You know.
Yeah.
There was a prominent family law attorney years ago who said, and not all attorneys are like this, but he says, look, I don't take a family law case unless there's $500,000 or more in assets, because I'm going to get $175,000 or more. The other attorney's going to get $175,000, and the couple's going to be left to split what's left. To which the mediator, who'd been mediating for many years, says, how do you know you get that much money? That's a lot of money. That's simple. All I have to do is create an argument. So what some attorneys do is they'll get the intake, they'll look at the net worth statement, and automatically they're thinking what they're going to bill for that case. And then if you run out of money, they can put a lien on a house or any other assets you have. In addition to that, I'm trying to think along with the finances. I've met many couples who've gone through the litigation process, got to a point where one or both ran out of money and were forced to sign a stipulation of settlement that didn't work for one or both of the parties. I hear about it all the time. People tell me, where were you 5 years ago? I didn't know mediation existed. It's been around 45 plus years. Were you 10 years ago, 20 years ago? One guy said, if I killed my wife, I'd been out of jail by now. It's a horrible process. There's parent alienation from children to parents. There's so many negative things that come out of a litigated divorce that I try to, and I hope I'm able to alleviate.
Right. Now, can you do, let's say you're already divorced and you've come up with, a problem, and you may have to go back to court again to be able to get that worked out. Can you go to mediation and try to get those things resolved again? Things change. Times change.
Absolutely.
So can you go back and revisit it?
Yep. I have an extensive checklist. I tell them that things could change that you didn't think about or nobody thought about. Look, I've had couples come to me. They've put the litigation process on hold because they were at a point where they couldn't decide on 1 or 2 things, and they wanted to get that resolved and then continue with the litigation process to save a lot of money. I've had couples come back after mediation years down the line after their divorce was done. And so, Jeff, this came up. We want to change. Can we do that? Sure. So they come in, we talk about it, and then what I do is it's called a amended stipulation of settlement.
Right.
So everything that they agreed to originally still applies, with the exception of whichever clauses we're working on. I file it in the court for them, and that's it. They're done. A legally binding contract, and they can do that, absolutely.
Right. Now, but that is something that both parties have to agree to. You couldn't force your ex to be able to go to mediation, other than some states do require mediation. I know Florida does.
I think Florida is one of them, right?
Right. But you have to file a court case and then go to mediation. You couldn't just go straight to mediation if the party didn't want to do it, right? I guess, right.
You have to have both willing to go. Yeah. And every case that I get initially, it's usually one party to call it first. Mm-hmm. And I always ask that question. I offer a free 30-minute in-office consultation. They can both come in, no obligation, ask me any questions they want, see if they feel comfortable with me. But right, you can't just mediate with one, and if the other one doesn't, because it just won't work.
Right, absolutely.
That's at least want to be able to sit down and try it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about being a mediator, what it takes to be a mediator. Do you want to do this type of living, change your career? There's a lot of people out there that have gone through divorce and now are looking for, ways of making money, and maybe being a mediator is the thing for you. So we're going to take a quick break. We have Jeffrey Bloom with us, and we'll be right back. This is Cece with Going Solo. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to come on back, and this is Cece with Going Solo. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We do have Jeffrey Bloom with us. The first part of the show, we talked about mediation, how to go through divorce, maybe saving yourself some money, being able to, really kind of alleviate some of the arguments, some of the emotional drainage that we have in a divorce. Jeffrey Bloom is the CEO of Creative Solutions Group and also the CEO of Mediation Society of Long Island. He has a fantastic radio show himself. It's on WLINY radio, and it's called Ask the Mediator. So welcome back to the show, Jeffrey.
Thanks. And just to let the listeners know, WLINY is an internet radio station that's broadcast both locally in the New York area and nationally. So you can go to WLINY.com. I'm on every Monday evening, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in addition to that, you could, other than on your computer, you could look it up on your TuneIn app on your phone or smart device, whatever the case may be. And if you have that app, just go on WLNY, you can listen on there also as well.
Yeah, it's a great show, and you do allow call-ins and things like that.
People call and ask questions all the time. Yep.
Yeah, I called in on one of the shows, and it's a really good show. So if you guys are thinking about going through mediation, or you have something like that you want to, really kind of get a little bit more information, your show is definitely a great show to listen to.
And I'd also like to let your listeners know my website in case they want to look and get some information. Love that. It's mymediationservices.com.
Great. That's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about, because I know that it's important for both you and I to kind of change the face of divorce a little bit. And so being a mediator is kind of a little bit of a hot topic right now, isn't it? And so people are looking at other ways of getting divorced and doing it differently. And so being a mediator at this time in the stage would probably be a great thing, a great career for someone if they're looking to be able to get into it. And I know that you are definitely, interested in teaching those that are interested in mediation. So tell us a little bit of the parameters of what you have to do in order to be a mediator.
Okay. It deviates from each state. There are some states that have a certification requirement, some that don't. For example, I'm in New York, and even though I've been through certifications and basic and advanced trainings, it's not a requirement in New York. Florida has a requirement. Tennessee does. And I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. So it depends on your state that you're in. I run a 5-day, 40-hour basic mediation trainers course so that when you're done with my course, you can mediate if you wanted to. You can hang your shingle and you can mediate, assuming there's no other requirements for your state. I've had a lot of requests to develop that into an online training program. So that's something I'm working on at the present time. And I want to make it just as effective as my in-person one because I don't want to just throw something together. It's important. In fact, even now, I'm training ninth graders at a local charter school as a peer mediation program. I'm teaching them how to be peer mediators to help resolve conflict among other students. They're more likely to listen to other students than, a principal or an adult or something like that. So I have a very extensive training background. My whole goal is the more of us that are out there, the more there's business there, right? With the divorce rate being 50, 55%, sometimes as high as 60%, the business is there. And in addition to, not to sound ghoulish, for lack of a better term, but now with the same-sex marriage, there'll be more divorces, right? Be careful what you wish for. So, but the problem with that, with the business, and it's getting a little better, is people are getting a lot of misinformation. So there are old school attorneys who will tell somebody, you can't do mediation. You got to fight for what you want. They'll sit in the office. There's a lot of emotions, right, going on when you go into divorce, and they'll promise that client their moon, the stars, and the sun. I'll get you that, no problem. And no attorney worth his or her salt can guarantee an outcome from a litigation. They just can't. It's just it's impossible. So, and I do something different than most mediators. Most mediators are afraid to do this, but if somebody calls me and they're not sure, I'll tell them, call an attorney. Call a couple attorneys, speak to and meet with a couple of mediators. So you make an educated decision. So 10 years, 20 years down the line, you don't say, I should have done that, or I didn't know that existed. Look, mediation is not 100% for all couples, nor is litigation. Why not know what your options are so you can make an educated decision and feel comfortable with it?
Right, absolutely. So I think it's a really great career if someone's looking at being able to get into something. Now, do they have to have any background, any educational background in the past in order to be a mediator?
No, in fact, one of the falsities or not truths is you have to be an attorney. You know, and there are attorney mediators, but attorneys are trained to be advocates, and unless they've had some type of mediation training, it makes it very difficult for them to act as a mediator. But mediators are therapists. I've seen. I said I was a paralegal. There are attorneys. And I've seen others in other trainings that come from all different walks of life. Maybe they want to add this to their current practice of what they do, or they want, or a mom who's stay-at-home mom wants to start a part-time or full-time business. So if you're a person who likes to help people, and it's something you want to do, then there is no other requirement other than taking, like I said, some training and learning how to do this.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's a fantastic thing for someone if it's something that they might be interested in. I think a lot of times as we're coming through divorce, we kind of get a little bit of a passion about that particular field. And so if you're looking at something and you want to try to do something a little bit different, maybe something to help someone, it would be a great thing to do. So again, Jeffrey, tell us how we can reach you if we're interested in doing the course.
Okay, and real quick, what I wanted to mention was, and I know this is recorded, but I have my archive shows on the WLINY website tonight. I have Gary Jacobs on, who's the president for Americans for Legal Reform, and he's very active in trying to get some of these laws changed, for the people to go to the litigation process, so it's not as crazy as it is also, because there's just so many things that where people lose it. So I just want to mention that also, because it should be an interesting show. In regards to getting a hold of me, my office number is 516-308-7808. My website is mymediationservices.com. You can call me. We can talk on the phone. Let me know what your needs are. Again, hopefully the next couple of months, I'll be launching my online version of my training. Other than that, presently I do a in-person over 5 days, 5 full days. And you leave with a certification, and again, you can leave with and then there's also comes with support from me. So you're not left, Jeff, now what do I do? So again, the whole idea is to get the word out there that we could do this, we could help people go through the process, and hopefully have more win-wins than win-lose or lose-lose situations.
Right, that sounds great. Now, do you have a class coming up that someone, if they wanted to enroll in pretty quickly, would they be able to do it, or?
Those new dates will be on my website within the next week or two. Today is November 7th. I would say by the end of this week, my tentative dates are the last 3 days in March, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I have to look at my calendar real quick. In fact, while you're here, I might as well look. What the heck, right?
Yeah, what the heck?
I have to confirm all my expert guest speakers that come in also, that provide value to the program. So tentatively right now it's March 31st, April 1st, and April 2nd is the first 3 days.
Okay.
And then the next 2 days will be Saturday and Sunday, the 1st and 2nd. Excuse me. I skip a week. And then it's the 7th, either 7th and 8th of April, or the 14th and 15th will be the second 2 days.
Okay.
So I'm working on confirming those, and that'll be coming up soon in regards to that.
Great. So that's pretty quick. That's pretty right around the corner, because we have the holidays, and then after the holidays, we'll be able to catch our.
And I've had many requests. Can I do it sooner than than that late, and doing it in February. So again, I'm open. If I get enough people that want to do it, I can put together a class and do that, and get my speakers together and so forth.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. So if anyone is interested, please give him a call. His number is 516-308-7808, and that's Jeffrey Bloom. It is so great to have you on the show. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners before we close the show?
No, I don't think so. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call and ask, and check out my website. I got an FAQ page, and I'd be happy to help anyone, even if you're going through the process now. of the divorce and want to, and you have questions, and I'm willing to help at no obligation.
Oh, that's super. Well, thank you so much. You are listening to Jeffrey Bloom, and again, he is a CEO of Creative Solutions Group. Also,
Creative Resolutions.
Creative Resolutions Group, and the CEO of Mediation Society of Long Island. He does have a fantastic radio show, internet radio show, which is on tonight and on Mondays, 8 to 9, and it's Ask the Mediator on WLINY Radio. So thank you so much, Jeffrey. I appreciate you being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. Well, this is Cece with Going Solo, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Internet Radio. It's so great to have you, Jeffrey. Bye for now.
Take care.